Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And it's my great pleasure to have with me again my good friend, Eric Kraft, who's the program chair, Enterprise Connect of Informa. Eric, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Doug. It's great to talk to you again. Really appreciate working with you again and all the great support.
Well, ditto. I mean, this has been amazing. We just talked about this is an amazing relationship that goes back literally to like 1997 or 1998. But I want everyone to know this is not going to be your regular, gee, it's January, let's talk about Enterprise Connect podcast. This is a brand new era for Enterprise Connect.
It definitely is. We're in a new location. We're in Las Vegas after over 20 years in Orlando. We're really excited about that. We think there's a lot of great things about being in Vegas that'll help it be affordable and accessible. So we're very excited about that, and we've got a great, beautiful new venue, and very excited to share some of what's going on.
Let's talk about that for a second because, Orlando was great and no one has any complaints. It was a fabulous time and many years to do it. But Vegas also brings with it a location that's near to, for example, the Bay Area, to the Silicon Valley, to Los Angeles and Orange County, Seattle. So a lot of technology and a lot of people, even places like Lubbock, Texas and Dallas, it might be a little bit easier to get there than the other place.
That's the hope, is that everybody will find it easier to get to or at least be able to make it there without too much trouble. And I think the other thing is Vegas. We were in, as you and many people know, in a venue in Orlando that was a terrific venue, but it was very much kind of off by itself, and you could stay in the conference hotel, but that was if you needed a more economical option, or if you just needed some different choices, that was a little more difficult to arrange. In Las Vegas, we've got two hotels connected right to our venue, and then of course you've got the whole strip and beyond to find your range of what kind of a hotel, what kind of arrangements work for you.
So I was a veteran of sometimes having to be on that bus from the Fairfield Inn. And
Yeah.
some people will relate to that. So that was a little bit of that was okay, but this
Yeah.
will be a different experience.
Yeah, and as I was saying, actually the two hotels, the Link and the Harrah's, are connected to our venue, which is Caesar's Forum, which is just a convention hall. But the walk from those hotels over the sky bridges is really actually no longer, and I felt like was a bit shorter than what you would do from the hotel site of the Gaylord Palms over to the convention center. It was a pretty sprawling venue. So we've got some close in, and I think little reasonably priced options. They're connected to the show. There's also a monorail stop right there. So if you get to other places through the monorail, that should be hopefully convenient for people.
And as you mentioned, maybe we should mention for the first time, it'll be concurrent with HIMSS, which is a huge healthcare show.
That's right. HIMSS is owned by our corporate parent, Informa, and so they're going to be, I believe, at the Venetian is where HIMSS is. But I think it's a great sort of complementary kind of an arrangement where HIMSS, of course, is very healthcare specific. It's vertical specific, but obviously very high tech. We kind of have our very specific piece of the tech industry and of the enterprise tech industry that we cover. So I think we for somebody who wants to experience both shows, I think hopefully they'll be able to find a way to do it that makes sense for them.
Let's look at the content. What can we expect that's new in terms of Enterprise Connect has always been a great place to get education, to learn about new things, or to reinforce stuff that maybe was missing in your education in terms of telecommunications and technology.
So yeah, and one of the things we did was really revamp the program a lot. One of the things we did was our Tuesday program, the show, and this is another thing that we think will make it more conducive to people being able to make it to the show. Where in Orlando we started, bright and early, 8 a.m. Monday morning of the week, and went till midday Thursday. In Las Vegas, we're going to start 8 to 8:30 a.m. or thereabouts on Tuesday. So the show kicks off on Tuesday morning, which means that if you want to get to the beginning of the show, you don't have to travel over the weekend. You can get in if you're, if you're going to the first Tuesday keynote. The first keynotes are Tuesday afternoon. So, even if that's your choice, you can go in Tuesday morning and see that. We've rebuilt the pass structures, so there's a 1, 2, and 3 day pass. So again, priced accordingly. So whatever kind of is your sweet spot for both time and budget, both of those are precious for everybody who's trying to make it to a conference. And then we've added some kind of specific new ways of cutting the content. So on Tuesday, it starts from Tuesday morning is going to be a choice of 3 half-day summits, one on AI, one on CX, and one on collaboration, kind of your basic UC. And the idea is that there will be a series of mixture of panel discussion, customer, enterprise case study discussions, presentations, and some small group discussions where we'll break the audience up in small groups. We'll have it set in round tables so that people can do some sharing. Another thing that people have been telling us is critical is using an event like Enterprise Connect to do networking and to make connections with their peers. So we're trying to build some formats like that into the program. And then we've also kind of overhauled our track structure a little bit. And that's been with an eye towards this moment that we're in, where there's kind of, as we were talking about, the kind of a two-pronged thing that many people are dealing with, where you've got this very legacy installed base that needs attention and needs sort of maybe migration at some point, but certainly needs to be resilient and able to serve your needs consistently and rock solid, especially as things like CX and AI get to be more important. But then you do have all the emerging technologies, mostly around AI, that everybody is struggling with. Everybody's struggling to figure out the ROI and the value proposition. Everybody's trying to figure out how to make money at it or how to save money at it, and then trying to understand where it's going. So we're trying to kind of go along both of those tracks of here's how to run things that you've got now, and here's this very challenging future that's ahead of you.
Eric, you're going to be basically a baseball throws away from the Silicon Valley. It seems like I said before we were talking about in the setup for this podcast, seems like you guys are making a bit of more of a commitment to AI.
I think it's fair to say that AI is a big part of this show. You can't, and again, I think that's a reflection of the moment we're in, where I think for much of our audience, they may have top-down mandates to be deploying AI. They may be struggling with how to deploy AI effectively. They may be wanting to ensure that they can deliver the level of service through AI that they need to. They want to take the opportunities where they can to use it, the efficiencies of AI. But again, it's far from a sort of easily understood process to know how AI is going to work for you. So I think that's also, of course, probably if you're in the middle or beginning or anywhere but the very end of your career, that AI is probably going to take up a big chunk of the next many years of your career. So knowing how to build your career in IT in an IT world that's dominated by AI, I think is going to be important to people too.
It's still a little early. It's a few months to March. What do you have to say to people maybe thinking about exhibiting for the first time?
I would say this is kind of where the industry comes together. It's where we have the biggest vendors in the industry, the ones that are trying to craft sort of the platforms for this AI driven future and trying to drive that future in a particular direction. So there's great opportunities for partnerships. We have very solid enterprise attendees who are looking to understand again, how do they make purchase decisions, how do they, whether it's on the kind of advanced end of what AI should we be buying to try to achieve whatever our ends are, or even down as we've still kind of we've been sweating assets in all kinds of ways, and where do we go from here with that? How do we make sure that that's not a cost sink, rather, and instead we're doing right by that. And of course, as we were talking, things like E911 are still super important to this audience, and we've got a session again on that,
Yep.
dealing with both the compliance aspect and the regulations, and also the kind of the technology of how are we in a world where so many people for work are using their cell phones. How are we making sure that we're doing the right location technology to make sure we're delivering 911 service right.
Now, the event is Enterprise Connect, but over the years, we've noticed that a lot of channel companies that handle enterprise business are also attending. So, can you talk a little bit about sort of the changing profile of the attendee?
I think that channel aspect is a big element of it. I think it's many years ago there was still, and I mean, I think obviously there's still direct sales,
Sure.
and big accounts, but I think and AI is a great example of it, where people are looking to understand kind of a solution basis for how the technology gets put together. They're looking to see what they can, bring in somebody outside to do, so that they can repurpose their teams. Not that many team companies are fortunate enough to be adding a lot of staff. So, how can your solution partner or your channel partner help you, get all this done that you need to get done? And so that's been a big part of it. And then I think another thing, again, with the emergence of AI, there's a startup ecosystem that I think we'll see more of, and it's the industry is kind of looking to kind of the next round of sort of innovators to come up with the solutions that they can try to put in for the near term as they kind of make their long-term plan.
Eric, give me the case. If I'm talking to my boss, if I'm at an enterprise and I need to talk to some people about this is the conference that I want to go to, what's the case?
The case is that this is you can do that. This is the only, maybe, I don't know if it's the only, but it's the largest independent event where you're going to see multiple vendors. You're going to see the major solution providers. You're going to see those startups. You're going to see companies that may serve a particular niche area where you have a project this year. If you're migrating your contact center to the cloud, if you're if you are dealing with your wide area connectivity, if you're dealing with adding AI capabilities to your platform, this is where you can see and kind of make the comparisons and kick the tires. It's also I think the other real value proposition for somebody coming is the connections you'll make and the networking. Again, we've got some special formats in place to really try to promote the idea of enterprise people selectively, in their own space, kind of, talking to other enterprise people and just comparing notes and just being able to say, how'd you solve that problem? Or we're having this trouble trying to figure out what to do. If you run across that. And that's, again, I think, especially, in these days, that's, the in-person networking, getting to actually, have a cup of coffee or a drink with somebody, and just sit down and, let your mind kind of brainstorm a little bit. I think is something that it's really hard to get remotely, and it's hard to get in a lot of other settings.
Eric, I hope you didn't mind me putting up vendor neutral. It is almost the one of the very few places where you can actually see, like you said, side by side, big and small, the different solutions.
Exactly, and that's really we're really. Um, I agree. I think that's a really valuable thing. There's a lot of this individual vendor shows. I mean, they put on some great events, and of course they
Sure.
have great technology and everything. But again, you go to that event, and it's meant to only give you one particular view of things, and that's great for those purposes. But we think there's also room for something that lets you really look at the whole broad picture.
Eric, I really want to thank you for joining me today. This has been really interesting. I hope we get to do another follow along podcast as we approach the show. And of course, I'll see you at the event. Where can we learn more about Enterprise Connect?
Go to enterpriseconnect.com. Our early bird, our lowest pricing tier, is ending, I think, in a couple of weeks. And so you can get your best deal then. And encourage you. You can see the agenda there. You can see the sponsors, everything. So please do check that out. And thank you, Doug, so much again for the time today and for the partnership over the years.
Eric, my pleasure. And we really enjoy our partnership with you guys. And I'm looking forward to this event.
Awesome. Thanks so much.